we're starting a new series of interview called The Life Before Dota 2, and we're gonna talk with people who play Dota for like forever and know what was happening before Dota 2. And we will start with Kuro. Since the series is called Life Before Dota 2, when you started to play games, when you realized you're a gamer?
Well, before I played computer games, I played console games pretty much all my life since I was very young, like 4 years old. At some point I switched to computer games around like age 10, I think. So yeah, I always loved games.
I mean, in CIS we have computer clubs, you know, and like Cyber Arena, like Moscow computer clubs, and for our gamers, like for esport guys from Russia, from Ukraine, those computer clubs were like the second home. What was your story? Did you play it at home, or maybe you had such a place in your hometown?
Well, in Germany, computer clubs, they aren't really common because I think Germany, like, we have good internet, right?
Yeah.
So, but I still went to computer clubs like very few times with my friends, but for the most part I was playing from home.
So, I mean, how the community was created? Do you had like some friends from online, or you had friends in real life and then they become your friends online? How you meeting people in Germany? I mean, how you are getting into community?
Into like Dota community?
Yeah, into like Dota community. How did you get into Dota community in Germany?
Well, like even before it, for me it started out this way, that a friend introduced me into Warcraft 3, and he was a Polish friend, and he had a Polish version of Warcraft 3. So
do we know him?
No, he's like just a normal life guy, I guess, in this sense. And he showed me Warcraft 3, and then I installed it of Polish version in my computer, and I just kept playing it. And I didn't really have internet back then. I was like maybe, I think I was like around 10 years old. And I had two friends who I played Warcraft 3 with, but when I started playing online, they didn't really play online because they didn't have like a better internet at this point. And then I just met a lot of people online in Warcraft 3, and then I started playing Dota at some point, and then I just met a lot of people back then.
Your professional career is almost unknown before you, at least for me, it was known before you joined the KingSurf International team. Was like 7 or 8 people in a roster with such a glorious guys as Bigas,
Yeah.
Papi. How they reached you and how it was working, and it was your first team or not?
Before KingSurf, I played in German teams before that. It was just between German community guys. At some point, my first real international team was Mouse Sports. I played with Drage, Fragalot, Blutgeil, he was also a German guy, and a Miracle was a Swedish Miracle. And when we went to DreamHack 2008, I think, I met Puppy like before that, some weeks, and then he stood in DreamHack because Drage couldn't come. And that's where I met Puppy, and we played DreamHack, we got 3rd place, and then we decided to make a team together. Then we made KingSurf International, then he got Vigos, and Levent was also a German Dota player. He was with me, and I took Levent and Miracle with me. And yeah, and then we created KingSurf International, and that's our story.
What was the KingSurf International? Because it was like Malaysian KingSurf team, it was KingSurf International. So I mean, did you guys had some salary, or did you had some sponsors, or how it looked like?
Salary wasn't existent back then. I was just a name at the end of the day, I guess. We were covered some travel cost, but yeah, organizations back then, they were like just there. There was no salary, just some travel backup. And the Malaysian guy was called Eric. I'm still in contact with him, even today. He's a really good guy, but back then sponsors didn't really like give any money, so.
Yeah, I remember it was some really strange situation with Eric. Someone blamed him for some money issues, but.
Well, I can't blame him for anything. He, like, in my opinion, he's a cool guy, and back then it was really hard to actually build a real organization. He was trying to like push for KingSurf International, and the Malaysian KingSurf. KingSurf was basically, or maybe still is, just a Malaysian computer club, and they sponsored the Malaysian players, Yamate, and all these guys. And then he wanted to make an international team. We liked the name, and Kingster was a really cool team too, the Malaysian guys. So like, we had some contact with them and we practiced them. And back then, at like 2008, 2009, European Dota had like no contact to Asian Dota, so we were like one of the first guys who had the chance to like practice with them.
As far as I remember, the first LAN you went with Kingsurf International, it was in Ukraine. It was DDS Cup 2009.
No, the first LAN was in January 2009. It was Dota League Masters in Hanover. That was our first LAN together, and yeah.
That's actually was the first normal Dota LAN, right?
It was the first normal Dota LAN. We went there and we were super motivated. We boot camped in Berlin, and yeah, we went to the tournament and we actually won. It was really amazing experience.
And do you remember how was money? Was it for the first play prize?
I think it was 1,000 euros. That was the good times.
That was the good times. Yeah, back to your first trip, like to Ukraine. Do you remember that DTS Cup when you had the problems with, I don't know, maybe it was Levant or someone couldn't came?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember. It was in Dnipropetrovsk.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'll never forget that experience.
As far as I remember, you played with Dandy as a stand-in.
Yeah, Levin couldn't come because like he had passport issues. He couldn't come, so we needed a stand-in, and Dandy was not our stand. Dandy was already part of the team.
Yeah.
And then our stand-in was Ash. He was manager.
Ash, yeah.
He was manager of Virtus Pro and Empire now, I think.
Yes,
and,
still working.
And he wasn't really like a Dota player anymore, right? He was. Like he was playing Dota, but he already like.
He was actually an admin of the tournament.
he was busy with real life. He has a wife and a daughter. So we went anyway, and tournament didn't go well for us with standing, but it was very unique experience being there.
I mean, back in 2009, you were playing professional, so you were playing actually 8-9 hours per day. But was no salary. The prices were like really low. How could you live for this money? And could any professional player live for e-gaming money in that time?
At that point, no one lived off esports or Dota 2 money, Dota money. So we just played because we loved the game. We played all day. We enjoyed the game so much, and it's our passion. It's our hobby, and we didn't really think of it as careers. We all wished it to be one, but it wasn't possible, right? There was no money, nothing. So in my case, I was still pretty young. I was like 16 years old around that time. So I lived with my parents. They covered my cost anyway. And yeah.
Okay, after Kingsurf, you had some experience with the greatest player of all time, with PGG in one team. Can you tell us a bit more about those experiences, about Asus Cup in Moscow?
Well, he's a crazy guy. I think everyone knows.
Yeah, he's working on analyst panel here.
But he's very fun to be around. We went to play Asus. It was a qualification for ESWC, and we lost in the finals to DTS, which you were manager of.
Yeah.
I remember my feelings. I was totally crushed. I really wanted to win. I was ready to win. I thought we were gonna win. So we lost to DTS. It was a legendary Dandy, Art Style, Light of Heaven.
Dread is back and NS.
Dread and NS, yeah. And well, overall, I mean, after that, our team kind of ended. It was like we came back then. People just came together to play one tournament, and then we went apart. There was no reason to stay together. There was no contracts, no salary, no nothing. And well, we tried our best. It was fun, but didn't really work out.
You mentioned when you were in Kingsurf International, you had at least some opportunity to play versus Asian teams, Chinese teams. Do you remember any like LAN or any experience when you played like with Chinese guys? Because there were not so much LANs in Dota 1. So what LAN was the most significant for you?
Actually, we played online. We played against the Malaysian Kingsurf. We played with 300 ping. We didn't care, you know, like back then we were so much in love with the game. We just wanted to play, and we knew they were good guys, like they were really good at the game. And so we played with like some good 300 ping, and that was our practice games. But we didn't go to like Chinese LAN with Kingsurf International. We only went to like European LANs. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back about to you. You were playing a lot of different roles in Dota 1. Do you think this is those experiences helping you right now in your career? So I mean, you're one of the most versatile players at the planet. So did it help you?
Well, I mean, the game has changed a lot, but I made a lot of experiences since I used to play mid lane and carry lane. I think I'm probably one of the most experienced Dota players, just because I have so much history. It helps me in a way of understanding how other players think in their roles. And even like 1 year ago, I was playing carry for like 6 months. I think I can still do it, to be honest. And at the end of the day, I think I want to use like all my experiences for my present now and for my future.
What do you think about like new players right now in Dota 2? Do they have some advantages over the old guys? I mean, because they're young, or the experience matter more than the young, than the talent, than the reaction?
There always needs to be like a balance. Experience has like advantages, but being young has like a lot of advantages too. It means young players, they have a easier time learning stuff. They just like, for example, the game changes and the game changes a lot, and now like Dota 2, the map changes. So young players, they can just like pick up the game much quicker. That's what I noticed about myself. Now that I'm getting older, it's harder to like adapt as fast or like pick up things. It's harder to play 12 hours in a row and like just not giving a shit, you know. Now like I need some pauses and I need to like eat some food and relax.
Yeah,
but when you're young, then you can put so much energy into just playing in this case. And the experienced players, in my opinion, they have like an obligation to like teach the young players the experience. So if you like make a team and you have experienced players and young blood, usually it makes, in my opinion, like right now, it's one of the best ways to run a team. So they can just combine their strength.
Okay, to end the interview, I want to ask you one simple question: Who of your old friends, old teammates you miss right now? Who you want to see in Dota 2? Maybe I don't know, Mel, Levens. Your let me rephrase, your like the best teams you would play right now, like to end their career. Like,
I don't know. It's a hard
dream
question.
team.
I mean, like, who I miss playing with?
Yeah, you miss playing.
Well, I miss playing with like a lot of my old teammates. Like my teammates from Navi, I miss them. I miss teammates from Secret, but I wouldn't change my team right now. I'm happy in the team I am. For now, I want to like keep going.
Okay, good luck with that, and thank you for interview and good luck in the next